All right. Well, we're here. We probably can't share screen, but let's roll with it, guys. I'd love to hear. So I listened to a podcast from Bart and Sunny earlier this year, and I've shared it with many of our coaching clients. It's been awesome. So they're going to be talking about masculine, feminine energy, specifically working within a working relationship, which many of us are in agriculture. So we're 15 minutes into your presentation. We've got a hard stop for our next presenter at the hour, as long as they're here. And I know you guys are taking time out of your day, super valuable time, to step away from your mastermind to be here. And we honor that. And we're grateful for your persistence. So let's roll with it, guys.
Okay, so awesome. Thanks for having us. We're going to dive right in. So a couple things to think about, which we don't think about in a lot of different things, but if you've ever worked with animals, we all know animals have energy, right? And if you know horses, for example, if you look at studies and stuff like that, actually they have 10 times more energy than a human being has. And so we kind of take this for granted when we're in energetic fields and energetic systems. And so what's happened in the world today is we're very in a dominant masculine energy. So we want to kind of define a little bit masculine energy versus feminine energy. Okay, so there are two different energy systems. Now, the thing we do want to get across as we go through this, so I want to make sure we're clear, is that you have both energies. Every human being has both energies. You have one that's more dominant than the other, but everybody has both energies.
Yeah, it's not about gender, it's about energy dynamics.
That's right. So, so I just don't want to get that messed up in your head. So there's a masculine energy, there's a feminine energy in each and every one of us. Okay. So what happens is when we get out of alignment in our energetic systems, then everything can cause havoc with us. And I don't know how much energy work you guys do, but the number one thing is we want to be as a high performer. If you're a male, a lot of times that's your masculine energy. But what's happened in the world today is I want to kind of get clear on is that we get in business with our significant other, and then all of a sudden we start using masculine energy to drive. So what the masculine energy is all about is getting stuff done. It's like, we've got to get this task done, we got to ride this many horses, we need to brand this many cows, we need the accounting done, and all that crap has got to be done on this type of an outline, right? So we get really into that masculine energy. So what the woman does is she gets into that same mode, and she's like, okay, we're doers, we're going to get stuff done. And so as men, that's awesome, right? That is our dominant energy, and it works really, really well. And most of the world wants to run on masculine energy because we've been forced into that energy of get stuff done. Okay. And the women in our lives, and if you look at your earth, you know, the world we live in, Mother Earth doesn't run on the same system, and neither do women when they're in their feminine energy. So I'm gonna let Sunny talk just a little tiny bit about the feminine energy, how it works, and some things to be aware of.
Okay, so like Bart said, masculine energy is very much goal-oriented, it's structured, it's logical, it's get stuff done. So if you think of masculine energy like a mountain, it's got structure, it's immovable, it stands, right? Where feminine energy is more like a river. It's adaptable, it flows, it's more nurturing, it's more receiving, and obviously more emotional. And so, you know, when you think of, I like to think of feminine energy like Mother Nature, right? Because a lot of people kind of have a misconception, like if I'm operating in my feminine energy, I'm not going to be able to get anything done, and it's going to be chaotic, and it's weak also, because when you think of a woman, she is emotional, she can be vulnerable, then they think that's weak. I can't show up that way, or it's going to wreck everything. But Mother Nature is kind, but she's also very fierce. And like Bart says, you know, it's interesting in energy dynamics in a home. If mom's not happy,
ain't nobody happy,
right? Like that's the energy that the mother brings. And I really like your analogy of the storm.
Yeah. So Sunny and I talk about this a lot with a lot of different people is that as men, it's awesome to have what we're created for, and that's doers and take action. So the cool part about this is think about a cloud and think about how a cloud builds, and it builds and it builds all this energy, and then it has all this massive potential. And then what we are as the men is we are the projectors. So we're the ones that use that energy and throw it somewhere, if that makes sense. So it's called wielding, but we wield the energy. And that's where in a couple's relationship, the real power really starts to come, is when you can sit back and say, okay, we've got all these tasks, and then the woman's able to go, but let me build a really cool atmosphere around. Let me decorate the garbage can. Let me do all these things, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, instead of the garbage can just has to be taken to the road this way every second at this time, you know, all these things, it's like she builds all this really beauty around, and then we can wield the energy of what we need to throughout our businesses. And I know you guys are gonna have a lot more questions around this and stuff like that, so it may be a little vague in your head, but you really want to get in the difference of feminine versus masculine energy. And in relationship, it's exactly how we were created. So if you look at the feminine body, it was created to receive. It was created to build energy. It was created for all these things. And what is the man? It's the doer. It's the get things done. We all get the point, right? Way more intense. Our last is like that. The women can last all night long or all day long. You get the difference in human energy, but we're not using it to our advantage. So it affects our family life. It affects all sorts of different situations in our life.
Yeah, so I think just to take a step back and look at somebody who is a strong masculine leader at work, right? He's going to provide clarity. He's not going to overcomplicate things. He simplifies them. And people are going to come to them when they feel lost because his energy is like a compass. And he's decisive, but he's not impulsive, right?
Yeah.
He trusts his gut, but he doesn't act from his ego. So this is like a masculine that's true masculine. He's not
True
like
strong.
wounded masculine, which we're going to talk about. He creates structure and safety. So teams feel energized when they're around him. They're not anxious. He's not the type of person that comes in and just like just bulldozes everybody, right? And he's ambitious, but he's not desperate. So he plays to win, but he never sacrifices his integrity for speed. So at home, switching to home, he leads with steadiness, not force. His family doesn't fear him, they trust him. His children run to him, not from him, right? He holds a safe space for them. He's emotionally available. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later about how balancing the two energies within us, because you need to tap in as a man a little bit into your feminine side to have empathy, to allow for those emotions in your family, and to not check out or hide behind work. He listens without fixing, and he knows when to just hold space and also to hold accountability, right? He initiates hard conversations. He doesn't avoid conflict. He embraces it as a path to deeper connection. And he doesn't raise his voice, he raises his standard. So, right, that's the ideal.
Yep. It's the ideal masculine leader.
Now, the wounded masculine, because you hear a lot of people talk about toxic masculinity. I think it's just wounded masculinity. It's like, he's kind of trying to prove that he's a man, but he's still unsure that he is one. That's kind of definition. So those are the ones that are going to come in and they're going to dominate instead of lead. They're going to raise their voice. They're going to steamroll over ideas. They're going to micromanage and control. They're not going to trust their team because he doesn't trust himself, right?
Yep.
Do you have anything you want to add to that?
That was so good. Thank you.
He confuses aggression for strength. I think we get the idea. He mistakes bullying for confidence, and he thinks that fear equals respect. And those are the types that always need validation too. At home, he's kind of a checked out avoider. He numbs out with busyness or screens or sarcasm or even silence, and he won't initiate hard conversations. He won't make decisions. He just goes with the flow, but the flow is usually dysfunctional. And he demands obedience instead of fostering connection at home. He uses anger to cover shame. He uses silence as punishment. He doesn't know how to be vulnerable, so he controls everybody with his emotions. Those are their, like, you come to him with maybe something that you need to discuss. He's reactive, well, then you don't want to come to him again, right? So that makes your partner not feel safe. It makes your kids not feel safe, and they start to shrink or they start to rebel. And those are, sometimes those men are also, because they're so detached emotionally, they're not available. Like, you don't feel a connection with them. They avoid true intimacy, and conflict terrifies him. So he either gives in, disappears, or quietly resents. So those are traits of a toxic masculine. On the flip side, feminine, once again, it's more connection, environment, right? She wants to create beauty and warmth. She initiates intimacy of all kinds. So she's looking at emotional, she's looking at spiritual, she's looking at intellectual, but she leads with feeling. And I really like kind of the definition of feminine of like the storm, it comes in and it can change an entire landscape. It moves people, it moves things. She doesn't mother her partner, which I think some of us all want to do sometimes. Like, he's my biggest kid, right? That's not a good statement, right? She doesn't mother her partner, she inspires him, and she's a model of vulnerability, which is very hard. But when you have a strong masculine in your presence, it makes it much easier to do that, right?
Yeah.
At work, she leads with vision and trust. So that means that her team isn't just rallying around tasks, they're rallying around a purpose. She tunes to the room. So, women are very intuitive. They can usually feel the energy of what's going on. Is there tension happening? She's reading people all the time, and she's addressing issues before they boil over. She holds high standards, but she holds them with softness. She gives feedback, of course, because it's not kind not to give feedback, but it cuts through the confusion. It doesn't cut down the person. She values flow over force. So she sees the difference between working hard versus working aligned. So her team wants to perform not out of fear, but because they feel empowered to do so. And once again, this is her tapping into her masculine a little. She's going to blend logic with intuition. So she's going to bring that logical part of her to the front, so that as she's moving people with vision, she's also got the logic to back it up. Now, the wounded feminine, she's either trying to control everything to feel safe, or she's disappearing to avoid rejection. But either way, she's disconnected from her power because she's disconnected from herself. So a wounded feminine could show up as what I would call the chaotic queen. So you've got those constant emotional storms. One day she's inspired, the next day she's spiraling, right? She needs to feel significant, so she micromanages. She may gossip, or she may play favorites. She's the type that would weaponize emotion. So she uses her tears, her moods, or passive aggression in order to manipulate outcomes. She makes everything personal. Feedback is a threat. Conflict becomes catastrophe. Now, that type of person also thinks that she's powerful, but it's really just masking that deep insecurity that she feels inside, right? Okay,
Right.
so we'll wrap up with the wounded feminine at home. So she's the type that's going to run the house with a tight grip, because if she doesn't control everything, she feels unsafe. And again, she treats her partner like a child. So she may criticize, she may nag, she may overcorrect, keep score. Nothing is ever enough, right? Every gesture of love is met with, yeah, but. Or there's the other type that just kind of numbs out, hides behind busyness, perfectionism, or people pleasing. Just really easy to do. I'm not like, she doesn't speak her needs. She just expects her partner to just know. And then she resents him when he doesn't. She suppresses desire, then feels invisible. She may withhold some intimacy or connection, but at the same time, she craves it. She abandons herself first, and then wonders why everybody else does too. So that kind of just gives you an idea of what it looks like when you're out of alignment with your dominant energy. And obviously, a lot of these things also, you're going to have burnout, you're going to have fatigue, you're going to just feel like something's wrong, but you're not sure what it is. So let's talk about reclaiming masculine energy.
Should we do that?
Let's do that.
All right, let's go. All right. So one of the things in reclaiming your masculine energy is to stop asking for permission. So what's interesting in our masculine energy is, let's say that I ask Sunny on an amazing date, and I look at her and I say, "Where would you like to eat tonight?" And she says, "I don't care." If you've ever heard that, men, this is a great sign. That means she's in her feminine energy and she really doesn't care. So if that's the case, don't ask again, make a decision. All right, we're going to go to this steakhouse and that's it, and go. And just take charge of what you're doing and make decisions. What that shows the feminine energy is that you are capable to make decisions, and you don't have to sit and go, well, I don't care either. Where do you want to go? Well, I don't care. Now, if she gets mad about that, that's because she's trying to be in her masculine energy.
Or
If
she's the
she,
wounded feminine who wants you to know what she wants.
right,
without saying
exactly,
it.
one of those two things. So therefore, if you make the decision and then she comes back and says, hey, you should have known where I want to go or whatever else, you'll know what the problem is, but at least she'll know if you ask, she better give an answer if she wants to go somewhere. If not, you're going to make the decision and you're going to charge forward. That is being in your masculine energy. That is rebuilding what you need to do. All right. So rebuild your body, rebuild your energy. You see that right there. So one of the things that we forget a lot, especially when we're out doing certain things, ranching, all this kind of stuff. It's funny that I find a lot of people will, they always call me and they'll be like, hey, I want to get fit right now because I just got a divorce. I just lost my girlfriend. I did this, I did that, but I got to look good. How do I look good? Well, I'm here to tell you that the way you build that now is start today. You know, really, really focus on you being the best you can, because you should show up for your queen at your optimal, not all of a sudden get a divorce and think, I got to take charge of my health. You got it right now. You got the best thing ever sitting right next to you. So take charge, look the way you want to, perform the way you want to, and demand excellence from yourself.
And when you say though that also men, like, they thrive on that physical
Have to.
exertion, the heavy lifting, the
Yeah.
mental resilience, the
Yeah.
toughness, that's all gonna,
Which is a lot in this audience, which is great
Yeah.
because we're leaning more into it. And a lot of the audiences I speak to, they don't. They're desk jockeys, a lot of us. So they never get out and actually lift something hard. They don't have to buck a bale of hay or do anything like that. So, you know, it really, you have to get them in the gym to bring out that masculinity, to really drive that testosterone and get them going. A lot of you, I'm assuming, in the culture you're in, you get plenty of that. So master your presence, be still, and command respect. So a lot of times we forget we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. And so it's really hard to just sit, be present, digest, even settle with it. So as guys, one of the cool powers we have is we're fixers. We want to fix things and we want to fix them now a lot of times. But I'm here to tell you, sometimes giving yourself an hour before you try to fix is better. And we all know, you know, like measure once, measure twice, measure a third time, cut once, right? You see what I mean? Like, so let's be a little more patient and cut one time instead of cutting that first time and then really being impatient for a really long time because we got a bigger problem on our hands. Okay. So we're on to here.
Yep.
Okay. Own your word, do what you say you'll do. And I think this just goes with everything. You know, I told Jared I'd be here. There's a lot of things going on. One of the things I didn't know when I set this appointment up was I'm at a high profile mastermind. I pay $40,000 to be at this master. Well, 50, is it 50? No, 50,000. Sorry. $50,000 to be in this room. So every hour I miss out of that room, you can do the math, because I only get 10 hours total. And one of those hours I'm spending here. So this is an expensive call for me to be on, but guess what? I gave my word, told him I'd be here. So then my queen goes, puts all these slides together to make sure that we look good too at the same time. So there's more time that comes out of it. You see what I'm saying? But that's irrelevant. It has nothing to do with the price and rise in China. I gave my word to do it. Therefore, I'm here and I show up fully and I play full out. So do what you say you're going to do. And if you tell your wife you're going to be there at 10 o'clock, don't be there at 10:05. Be there at 10 o'clock. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's super, super important. Lead even when it's hard. And I mean, I don't have to take, I think once again, I think you all know this, but there's a lot of tough times when things are hard, like the economy's not right. There's, you know, the grain didn't do whatever it needed to do, whatever it is, and you are absolutely at your wit's end. That's not when to give up being a leader. That's when to step up and actually lead harder than you've ever lead, so that your team and the people around you know that they can count on you and that you're there with them and in the same, ecosystem. So when there's tough things going on in our home, we really, a lot of the family looks to me to carry that heavy burden. And it is a heavy cross to carry sometimes. But at the end of the day, that's why you need culture of other men to surround yourself with, so that you can call one of those strong men and say, have you ever happened to be here before? I haven't quite went through this in my life. Can you give me some insights? And they will help lead with you. So if you don't have a tribe of guys, or you don't hang out with guys, I encourage you to do that and have these kind of conversations. Cultivate emotional control, stop reacting like a boy. So I tell you this because a lot of times in my younger days, I could throw a pretty good tantrum. I could get pretty upset, and it did not serve me. So, just your emotions are great, but allow yourself to process your emotions, not vomit your emotions on top of your significant other, kids, or other people. Just allow yourself to process and then come back as best you can. And I really found this in a study with Navy SEALs, which is really interesting. So they take these Navy SEALs as part of their training, and you have to run into a room and literally be in the highest combat mode you possibly can be, beating, doing whatever you can to survive. And then they tap you on the shoulder, and you have to walk over to a little child and take care of them and be empathetic just like that. You have to go from rage at your peak to being as calm and collective to help somebody through a process. And what that does, it teaches you how to regulate. So what we've got to really be able to do is step in, step out, but not get to where we're out of our mind. Because what happens when we get out of our mind is that's when crazy things happen, because you're literally out of your mind. And what a lot of guys don't understand is your brain's heart rate and your heart rate, when they're not beating at the same rate, that's when you're out of your mind. So when your heart rate starts to raise, pay attention to it. All right, so claim space physically and energetically. And what this means is, a lot of times, guys, when we show up, if you walk into a room and you're like this and you're the little meek person sitting in there, you're not claiming space and you're not energetically projecting. So put your shoulders back, walk in, be a man, claim your space, but energetically be open to the conversation. Step into your sexual energy, own your desires without shame. And I could spend hours on this. I'm not going to, because we're short on time, but our energy is a very, very important thing as a man. And it's really funny. I can be lifting weights with 5 of my buddies, and we're all sitting there benching, and some beautiful girl can walk in, and all of a sudden I'm on my last rep and can barely get it up. And then I'm like, oh man, I can lift that. No problem. Let's do another rep, right? That energetic system is power throughout everything you do. And when you learn to energetically align that system, you can bring a lot of power to everything that you're doing out there. We'll spend more on that later in another time, but let's keep going.
Okay. We'll quickly run through reclaiming your feminine energy. So if, as a woman, and like Bart was saying, we really have kind of a tough time because we've got so much to do. As soon as we get up in the morning, we're making breakfast for the family, we're packing kids' lunches, we're getting them out the door, we're jumping into work. It's like a to do, which is great. Like, we've got to get stuff done, but it does force us to be in our masculine energy a lot. So we've got to be very intentional about how we can step into our feminine energy. So some of the ways that we can reclaim that is, first of all, to embrace your presence. Stop rushing, start commanding. And that's just one of those times where you've got to just take a step back, pause before speaking, take a deep breath, soften your gaze, let your presence be felt before you even say a word, because that's going to soften everything for you. Next would be to own your expression, speak with emotion, not just logic. Now, what will the society tell us? Don't use your emotions to speak, right? But emotions are what moves us. So we can move people through emotion, through storytelling, and through connection. So if you're sharing an idea with your family or at work, instead of just lifting facts, paint a picture with your words. Use sensory language, use how you feel, use what you see, use what you smell. Don't just tell a story, show a story, and invite people into an experience rather than just giving them information. Next would be to develop deep intuition, trust your gut without needing permission. I think we all know, we've heard of mother's intuition, right? A lot of times we can feel what's happening in our kids' lives before they even reach out to us. So feminine energy is deeply intuitive, and a lot of us have been trained not to trust our instincts. But we are like, it's not something that you sit back and go, well, either you're intuitive or you're not. You just are.
Yeah.
And the more you follow that intuition, it's just like a muscle, the more it will grow. So the next time you feel a gut instinct about a decision, act on it without over explaining it or without seeking validation. Let your intuition guide you in small waves, whether it's a business move or a relationship dynamic. Just start to see if you can sense that energy and that intuition coming up. Drop the overgiving and learn to receive fully. That's another really hard one. It's hard to receive, but that's what we were designed for, just as Bart was saying. So we're conditioned to give, give. But so you can start by, like, if someone gives you a compliment, just saying thank you without feeling like you need to give them a compliment back, or no justification, like, oh, this old thing, or, whatever it might be. So those are just small ways you can start practicing receiving, and then that you can get into bigger ones too. Moving your body with intention, cultivating flow and sensuality. Now, the thing about feminine energy, a lot of people don't know, is it lives in the body. If you're disconnected from your body, you're going to be disconnected from your feminine energy. It's about movement, it's about rhythm, and it's about expression. So as you get up in the morning, take a dance, start dancing, just start moving your body, just start flowing, because that's going to connect you to your body, which will connect you to your feminine energy. Set boundaries like a queen. No more apologizing for taking up space. Oh, we are so good. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You're spending your time with me. I'm so sorry, right? But no, step into it like the queen that you are, and don't apologize. If you feel compelled to say yes to something, because, a lot of times it's very hard to say no to something, pause and say, let me get back to you. That's one way that can start to give you the space you need to set the boundaries that you may need to set so that you can protect your energy. Step into your magnetism, lead with energy, not just your actions. So as we said, masculine energy pushes, feminine energy pulls. So the most powerful women don't chase, they attract. So before an important conversation, maybe it's a sales call, maybe if it's a work meeting, or even a date with your significant other, spend 2 minutes focusing on how you want to feel. Again, it's all about the body. Do you want to feel confident? Do you want to feel grounded? Do you want to feel radiant? And embody that energy before you step into the room or before you get into the car, and just start to watch how people respond to you differently when you do that. And then, similar to the men, awaken your sensual and your sexual energy. Own your full expression. So again, sensual energy is power. It's a woman who's in tune with her body. It's magnetic. It's confident. And sexual energy is creation energy. That's how you fuel your creativity. That's how, it's the same force that gives birth to life. So it's a source of power, passion, and radiance. So all of these ways you can start to reclaim your feminine, especially if you feel like you're in too much of your masculine energy, right?
So good.
Okay.
The best balances they basically balance both energies all the time. So one of the things you want to really get into is you got to master both. So there's a point in time when I'm a stylist. A lot of you may not know this, but I dress a lot of high profile people for events and speaking from stage. So when I do that, I can't be the rough, tough cowboy I want to be. I have to step into a creative energy. Creative energy is the feminine energy. And at that point in time, I've got to be able to relax, calm myself down, calm my nervous system down, and allow myself to get in the creation mode. And what's really cool is I see a lot of men that are out, even in the Western world, that are so crafty. I mean, they're so amazing at what they build with their hands, right? But what they don't realize is that is actually stepping into your feminine energy, believe it or not, and really using it in that creation power. So you want to learn to balance both and understand both and which energy you're in. But when you show up with your significant other, you need to be, well, not all the time, but for most of the time, you want to step into your masculine energy, allow her to be in her feminine energy so that she doesn't have to lead the house. She doesn't have to lead the ranch. She doesn't have to do all this. We take charge of that. We allow her to be present in her feminine energy. But other times we can step in between two.
Yeah, perfect. So, kind of like this, one misconception might be, you have 50-50 energy inside of you, like 50% masculine, 50. It's not that at all. Like we were saying, you just need to be able to learn how to tap into it a little. So if I'm in my feminine energy all the time, I am never going to get anything done. Right. So that's why that little piece of masculine energy needs to keep me going. It's those energy dynamics and learning how to balance them in your life. And then really just polarity, like Bart was just saying, it's just like a battery needs a positive and a negative. In your relationship at home, if I'm always in my masculine and he's always in his masculine, there's no sparks happening here, right?
It's like two herd bulls just hitting each other all the time. They're not going to work.
And so it's really, really important, as he was saying, like when he steps into the home, I can step back. He can say, like, I will hold this space for you. You go light a candle, go take a bath, go like do something, and I can be like, okay, cool. And, maybe when the time's right, you go do something hard or go be a man or whatever it might be. But as he's leading the home and as I'm receiving, there's going to be better energy dynamics there. There's going to be the polarity. There's going to be the spark. It's just going to be a better situation all around, right?
Absolutely. So good. Very well done.
I think that's pretty much it.
All
We did
right.
it.
So I think we got through it a little. We had a bunch of stuff, but we've got through all that. So we can open it up to questions. Or I don't know what time frame you have. Is it like 5 minutes you got for your next one or a few minutes? I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll start the next one right on the hour. So this is so awesome, you guys. We sincerely appreciate this. I know that you are here for a reason. My wife shared a little testimonial. For her, she learned this from somebody else a little bit earlier. And when I heard your podcast, it was like it resonated with me. And so we both adjusted. And it has been miraculous, the changes that we've made. I mean, we've been married for almost 28 years. And you think, hey, we should have this figured out.
Right.
But we didn't get the manual when we got married.
No,
And
we didn't
so
either.
and so I'm so grateful. So maybe a couple quick questions. Somebody asked, what if you're a single parent? How do you do this?
So good. That's I was raised by my grandmother, excuse me. And so I totally get this. And I think that's the duality of understanding that sometimes, no matter if you're single or not, you're going to have to bring some of this other energy in your life through community, because it's impossible for you to be able to really do the duality all the time. But just like Sonny was saying, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but either way, there's something about having both energies around every human to teach them the difference between these. And I think the other thing is teaching boundaries. So like in our house, for example, when I was with my grandmother, she was very clear on the fact that my husband's not here, which was my grandfather. But if he was here, I'm going to teach you this, which means never talk back to me. You
Cool.
don't do that. And the reason you don't do that is because I am a queen and you are a young man. And so let me teach you why that's important for when you have a wife. And it's like, you respect me and you do these things. Now, if you want somebody to get mad at, or you want to get frustrated and you want to, then we'll find you somebody else that will put you in the fighting ring. I'll take you down to the boxing club and you can beat the crap out of as many guys you want, be as aggressive as you want, do all those kind of things, but use outside things to teach the lessons. So like, I coach a couple and I was like, their boy was really out of control and he was really back talking his mom and he actually hit his mother. So I said, that's perfect. Take him down to and sign him up for karate and let somebody just beat the holy living crap out of this kid in that same and then act like what it's like when a bully comes up and, so there's other ways to prove the point without doing it yourself. And I know that sounds crazy, but look at how you use these energies in a different way. And another thing you can do is, if you've never studied human design, study human design and understand how different they are from you. And then you can start to map those things out and then explain energies through that. But that's a whole nother talk. So
Yeah,
it's helpful.
good. Super cool. Appreciate that response. This is just really gold. in a business relationship, how do you balance that when I see you both as entrepreneurial go-getters,
Yep.
um, and specifically, when you're in business mode, and then bringing back to the romance side and
Yeah.
the parenting and all the other relationship pieces that are involved when we're in business together?
Yeah, it's a really good question. Do you want to answer or do you want me to?
You go and then I'll add.
Okay.
Sounds
So
good.
how we do it in our relationship is when we're in business mode, first and foremost, the business is structured to where we each have different offices. And that doesn't mean different offices in the home. It means we know what our roles are and who's in charge of those roles and who makes the end decision in that office. So she might invite me in our office on a business question, but the end all be all is her. No
Mhm.
matter what she decides, I respect it, regardless if it works or it doesn't work, and vice versa. So we have very good parameters around our business and how we work in business together. We've done the same thing at home. When we get home, I understand to get her back in the energy that she needs to be, that she needs time, either in nature or she needs to be able to go, for no better term, even sometimes cook. It's relaxing and putting and creating and doing those kind of things. But I step into the masculine energy and like, okay, what didn't get done? Our chores done, or the garbage is taken out, this kind of stuff. And so we both understand as soon as we walk. And so for a lot of men, I coach them, they need actually a briefcase that they take to work. And when they get home, they leave it in the car. And that is the
Okay.
reset button, or when you take 5 minutes just in the car, reset, then walk in the house and put your hat on as dad, not as business. Same with Sunny. Sometimes she'll go up to the room, she'll just change her total outfit. She's in mom mode then. That's it. She
Okay.
has feminine energy. She sets the stage.
Yeah, and I would say as a woman, it's been a challenge for me to flip the switch, because when you're just going all day and then it's night and finally you can relax, it's like you have to be very intentional about taking some deep breaths, getting back into your body, finding the things that make you feel good, make you feel feminine, because it can be work.
Yeah.
But if you
Mhm.
don't intentionally do it, it's way too easy to just keep going because you're already in that momentum of that energy that you've been feeding all day. So, maybe change your clothes, maybe put on a piece of jewelry, maybe do something that will relax you and allow you to hold that space.
Yeah.
So good. Super cool. Um, is it right for men to utilize anger? We'll call it anger. It might come across as anger. And when and how is that utilized when they need to cause a movement?
Yeah, it's a great question. So
In general or like at home?
Both, I would say. So if my child was in the road,
yeah,
I would yell, I would scream, I would push people out of the way.
yeah,
I would use force, and some people would say that guy's angry.
right,
That would be justified in my
right,
mind. But there
100%.
might be other times when we need to like shake somebody, wake somebody up. They're doing us harm, and we need to put a
Absolutely.
stop to it. So how do you? When is it? When is it used?
Yeah.
And how is it used? I think is the better question, and that's probably a big, big answer. But how do we use it without causing the collateral damage?
Yeah. So to answer this is the best I can is in this time frame is I think it's the question really is that men know how to fire up. That's not our problem. That's, as a man, we know how to, like, gosh dang it, I told you times to not, let the fence down so the cows could get out. When are you gonna wake up? When reality is that, if it was my son, that would blow his mind. It's just like, whoa, because his energetic system isn't as intense as mine is. So understand who you're addressing. And if it's like just a situation like somebody in the road, they're going to get run over, is different than you left the fence down for the 4th time and I'm going to whip your butt for doing that type of thing. So understand that. But here's the thing that I can tell you the most is an empathetic man is so powerful to be able to sit for a minute and understand and just really be present in who you're talking to. So for me, it's like before you get too fired up, understand why you're getting fired up. So why am I getting so agitated about this?
Yeah.
Is it because you're going to die, or is it because of this, or is it because of that? Once we understand why we're getting, because it's us getting agitated, it's us getting fired up, it's nobody else, right? What is that causing to trigger in me, and why? And then sit with that for a second, then address the situation. I've asked you 10 times, or I told you 10 times, we're going to be late. I told you to be ready. But what I didn't realize is, why is that firing me up? Is because we've been late multiple times. Well, then that means I need to have a conversation. I don't need to be getting mad isn't going to fix it. Does that make sense? So that's when not to use it. But hey, you're gonna die right this second. Now that's a totally different thing, you know? So
Love it. That's really good, you guys. Thank you so much. Again, I know it's a commitment, it's a sacrifice, and we acknowledge that and we appreciate that. So we pray that the rest of your mastermind's blessed, that there'll be compensatory blessings for you, that you can make up any time that you missed there.
oh, it will be, no doubt. We're just
Yep.
grateful to be here. We love you guys. Thank you. We love the ecosystem. We're so grateful for the food we eat, for the cows that we have, and we pray over all of you every single day in our lives, because we know without this world, we're not going to exist. And so gratitude to all of you too. Thank you for having us.
You bet. Can you tell us what the free or your gift is to this audience, please?
So I think the best gift we can give you is just go to weplayfullout.com, listen to the podcast and the information. We give it to you every single week. Like legitimately, there's not a better gift I can give you to find our ecosystem, what we do, what we believe in. And that'll kind of lead you down the path of everything that there is out there. If there's something else you're in dire need of, let us know. But I think weplayfullout.com, get on the newsletter, listen to the podcast, and we'll give you a lot of business, like internet marketing, but at the same time, relationship stuff. At the same time, just our perspective on what's going on in the world with organic intelligence versus artificial intelligence that's coming out, how
Yep.
that's important, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Yeah. And it looks like you've got a free trial to the I Do Epic.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
So 1 month,
Awesome.
1 month free trial on that,
Sweet.
which is your own
Network and accountability calls.
Okay. Yeah. And powerful opportunity to join those. So that's 1 month, and that's a super good value.
Yeah, it's like $200. So a month.
Okay. So if you guys want some high level accountability, if you're ready to like show up and play full out, like their podcast says, then and this could be your next step. So thanks again. God bless you, and have a great rest of your mastermind there.
We'll do it. See you guys.
Okay. Take care.